Meeting to order as it is 8:30. We have our agenda in front of us. Any additions or changes to the agenda? Okay,
I'll adopt the agenda as presented.
thank you. All those in favor? Carried. We also have our minutes that were distributed earlier for us. Anyone see any changes that need to be made? No? Councillor King?
I would move the minutes from the previous meeting as presented, June 15th.
Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Woo, we're 50% done. Okay, we're on to our 2021 Kneehill County Scholarship applications. We all took some time to look through them before coming, so I think we're ready to roll. Do I understand this? Yes, Councillor Christie.
Seeing as how I have a conflict here, I'm going to excuse myself.
Oh, okay. Shucks.
From all of them?
Well, you can't pick one over there. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So we'll pass it on to Carolyn, correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I'm presenting you all the 2021 Kneehill County Scholarship applications. Each year, Kneehill County offers 2 scholarships in the amount of $2,000 each to Kneehill County residents enrolled in post-secondary institutions. This year, we received 8 eligible applications, and it was nice to see that we actually received applications from all schools in Kneehill County. We had, well, I won't tell you where they're from because that might, but anyways, we got applications from all the schools. And the process for selecting 2 candidates will be as follows. The committee will read all the applicants' essays, reference letters, and contributions to school and community leadership activities and personal achievements. Hopefully you've already done this. And then the committee will then rate each of the applicants' essays and reference letters combined in contributions to schools and community leadership activities and personal achievements on a scale of 1 to 10. And I have a spreadsheet that will be going here, and it will automatically add up all the scores. And on the right, it will rank them. And if it's, so far I have all the scores from their transcripts. And so that's where you'll see these numbers already in there. And then you'll see that number 1 is highlighted in pink, and then the number 2 is highlighted in green. And it's 20% is calculated in academic achievement, 50% in written essay, and 30% letters of reference. So did you want me to go on, or did you just want to start calculating?
What would the committee like to have? Should we just go through the, Councillor King?
Can I have a point of clarification? You said that we were to rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. Is it reasonable to expect that I might have more than 1 10?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay. All right. Because that's how I ended up as, you know, there's a number of them that I felt were equal in. Okay.
Great. Any other questions before we get started? Okay. We'll take your lead, Carolyn. And Councillor Penner, would you like to start our first one?
Do you, sorry for point of clarification, do you want to just go through essays first and then letters of reference, or do you want to go per applicant?
I prefer essays.
And then go to the, okay.
Yeah.
I gave them an 8.
I gave them a 9.
And a 9.
Applicant number 2, who will be attending state in culinary arts.
Councillor King, can you start this one up?
7.
8.
Are we going this way?
Yep. That's good. 8.
7.
Next applicant is going to attend the University of Alberta with a Bachelor of Education.
And Councillor Woodstock. Yes. I have a 6.
7.
6.
The next applicant is attending the University of Alberta with a Bachelor of Agriculture, majoring in crop sciences.
I will start that one with a 7.
7.
8.
7.
Back to you, Councillor Penner.
Carolyn.
Oh, yeah, the next
Sorry.
applicant is going to attend Ambrose University with a diploma in acting.
8.
I have 9.
7.
I was a 9.
Next applicant will be attending Olds College in agriculture management.
I will start with 9.
8.
9.
8.
And Jerry will start our next one.
Which one's this one?
Number 7.
This one will be attending Lethbridge College and taking general arts and sciences.
7.
8.
7.
7. And our last one.
Last one is going to Red Deer College. He or she is in open studies and will be taking environmental and conservation.
Councillor King.
7.
7. Sorry.
6.
7.
Not doing its thing.
Ahead and do the letters of reference, and then we'll come back to fixing that.
Sure. Okay. Reeve Woodstock, would you like to start with our letters of reference for number 1?
6.
Councillor King.
8.
7.
I have 7. I'll start with number 2 with an 8.
7.
7.
7.
This is fun.
Okay, you say so.
Councillor Penner. I have a 7.
7.
8.
Councillor King.
We're on number 4. I have an 8.
7.
9.
8.
Reeve Woodstock, number 5.
It was 8.
Okay. 9.
7.
8.
I'll start on, we're on number 6, right? I didn't lose my spot. Okay, 8.
7.
7,
8,
I was 8. Counselor Penner?
7,
7,
8. And Counselor King, do you want to finish this off?
yep, 7,
7,
8. Exactly. I agree. Does anyone need to take a break while we wait for calculation?
It was interesting to me, with this subject, in my thinking process would be, if we were getting those essays from someone from a much larger center, kind of what they would say about the same subject.
Yes.
So a lot of them has very similar ideas about community as it relates to rural. I was very interested what it might be in an urban setting.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. You should give a tutorial while you're doing this. Yes, we can. I know. Great.
of leading them in any direction.
So we're just calculating our rankings. The formulas are not working today. I know, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Great. I like that idea. Would anyone like to make that motion? Thank you, Reeve Woodstock.
Move to table till later in the meeting.
Any discussion? I'll call the vote. All agree? Carried. Okay, we're on to our next topic. So glad you were able to join us so early so we could rush right into your work, Barb.
I'm just bringing back to you, based on the August 25th Municipal Planning Commission meeting, you had requested some further conversation regarding, there was a gap in the square footage in the land use bylaw. So that's what we're doing. We're coming back with some of that. So the subject application was for residents that did not meet the minimum square footage requirements for the Ag District, but was too large to meet the definition of a tiny home under our current land use bylaw. Development officers are limited to variance powers noted within the land use bylaw and cannot issue decisions that fall outside of those lines. The Municipal Planning Commission, however, has been given broader powers, both under the Municipal Government Act and under the land use bylaw. It is prudent to ensure the land use bylaw addresses trends and patterns that we are seeing within a community. However, legislation has provided these powers when something doesn't quite fit the standards that are required. This is particularly helpful for the one-off situations. What I've done is I've included a list of what we're seeing, and I've gone back in time, as you can see, to 2016. And just to give you an idea of what we're seeing related to housing, the one we dealt with on August 25th is the only one we've had that did not fit into the existing lines in the last 6 years. One of the things that we're talking about is due to the notification process, when we touch the land use bylaw, it's a lot bigger notification requirements than typical. So with any proposed changes, it's not feasible to get through this process prior to year end. So administration is going to propose the draft changes council would like to see following this discussion and bring them back in the new year. If council is of the opinion that they would like to take a broader look at the land use bylaw, then administration is proposing that any changes regarding the housing issue would be included at that time, so we're not going through that process twice. So dependent on the election and whether or not you guys are looking at some of the larger planning documents, the municipal development plan and land use bylaw, and you want to look at them in a more detailed, I think we would incorporate any changes regarding this in one big view. Otherwise, we can just do an amendment. So planning staff, we sat down and we had discussions on what was the best way to tackle this. And we also wanted to be the least intrusive in the land use bylaw, so we were touching the least things. So the following is our recommendation. And that is to remove the 800 square foot minimum requirement from the following districts. And so all of those districts do have that, currently have that 800 meter or square foot. Yeah, that's a large home. Keep the tiny house maximum at 500 square foot. That would stay as a discretionary use. To keep the garden suite maximum of 1,000 square feet. And again, this would stay as a discretionary use. Hamlet residential and ex-Hamlet, we wanted to remain at 800 square feet. You're in a bit of a more urban area, and so in order to be in keeping with the houses around you, we did have some concerns. Council can certainly override that, but to have a more random amount of housing sizes within a little urban may be problematic for people that have the larger houses. So we've left that alone at this point in time. And then basically what that, and country residential remains at a minimum of 1,000 unless the whole development is approved as a tiny house development. And so again, the standard in a country residential was set to be a little bit higher than the normal. All of these are negotiable. I mean, you guys are welcome to have those conversations. What this in the end would do is would allow all single family dwellings over 500 square feet to be a permitted use in these districts, unless it is a second plus residence, a garden suite, or a tiny home. We also looked at some of the other municipalities in our area just to see what requirements they had. Red Deer County has no minimum in ag or country residential. Mountain View County just has a clause, shall meet the required Alberta building code for permanent year-round occupancy. Not entirely sure how that would play out, and it may wind up again with really randomness. As long as they meet the building code, they could be whatever size, so I probably would deviate a little from that. Lethbridge had no minimum requirement. Camrose had some odd square footages, but because most people report in square meters, when you put it into square footage terms, it comes out odd. And then Wheatland County had no minimums in the ag district. However, they had several different designations around the Eagle Lake Speargrass development that they have. And so that's just to give you a little bit of what's happening around us and in some of the similar municipalities. So again, it's, if you guys have comments.
Councilor Christie.
Just out of curiosity, what's the building code? Does they have a requirement in it or not?
Well, I think it's just as long as you can meet the building code, and that's what I'm not sure. Like, the building code is this fat, so I haven't done that piece, but I think it would allow a lot of any random size as long as it meets the building code. And you can engineer anything, to be quite honest, and so that would be a challenge. Because then I do think you have that potential to open the door and have a variety of things that maybe weren't necessarily considered when we did the land use bylaw.
Thank you. Any other questions of our presenter? Councillor Penner.
And we're talking above ground. This is not basement square footage.
That's correct. So it would be very similar to what a real estate, when you're looking at purchasing a house, they always talk about the square footage, and it's above ground. Basement is always added as an extra. So that's what we do as well. So yes, it would be above ground.
Any other questions or points? Reeve Woodstock.
So currently, what we have is that spread between the 5 and the 8.
Correct.
And to eliminate that, we just remove the 8. Is that the process?
That's what we're recommending as the least intrusive, unless we're going to touch a bunch of things in the land use bylaw. And the districts that I've outlined in here, the ag business, rec district, light industrial, and manufactured home district would be the ones that we would touch. With the manufactured home district, it would be very difficult to find something under 800 square feet in a more modern manufactured home. Most of them come in at 1,000 or a bit more, so that would be a challenge anyway in that district. And with the employee housing, often if you're having the employee housing in some of those districts, you may want to have something a little bit smaller as well. But those are the ones that we're recommending that get touched. And then that would just basically say, again, it's not a common issue that we've had. And so I don't foresee that we're going to have a lot that come in at 550 or, that in that 600 square foot. I said typically people are going to build that 800 square feet, but this would cover off that gap.
So this would look like an amendment, not a full opening of the,
Yeah, so if we just touch this, it would be an amendment to the land use bylaw. If as a council after the election, there is some consideration of going back through the municipal development plan land use, because this council has never really touched the municipal development plan with the exception to amend it for consistency, then at that point in time, the proper way of doing it is to really do some notification, some consultation, those types of things with these large planning documents. The last few years we've touched it just to get through. We've added the cannabis, we've added some odd pieces, but it's been a very quick amendment without actually touching the full-blown document as much. So I'll leave that with you. And again, we don't know exactly who's going to be sitting in all the seats, but we can certainly do this either way. But it's going to be very tight to get it done before year end because of the notification. We have to notify all the urban and rural municipalities around us. We have to give them time. We do have to notify and put this in the paper just to make sure that people are aware and give them good notification that they can write in regarding these changes. I don't foresee that we'd get a lot of pushback on this because it's not really a significant change. But the other option is to leave it as is, and if we get those one-offs, that is where you guys as a Municipal Planning Commission, that is your wheelhouse to be able to provide decisions on those offside ones.
great. Any other questions, comments?
So when it comes to country residential lots, it's up to whoever provides these lots to determine the architectural standards that are. So if they say you can't have a home under 1,200 square feet, we're out of it?
So we're talking about one that we've got restrictive covenants on that were put on by the developer. We don't enforce restrictive covenants. That's a neighborhood community thing that has to be enforced. And so we actually, I think, have 2 that have restrictive covenants. But what we do is make any purchaser aware. If they phone us first, we will make them aware there's restrictive covenants. And then it's really on them. For us, it would be 1,000 square foot house that we could permit in those areas. And then it would be up to the neighbors to, which is not ideal, but it would be up to the neighbors to fight. But we don't have, when somebody chooses to put on a restrictive covenant, we don't necessarily have the authority to stop that. They can certainly do that, and you will see that more often in more urban settings than you do out here. But they are on title, so anybody buying that should be a flag to them that there's something else on there. But if they have those conversations with us, we will make sure they're aware. And I think largely if you get landowner or adjacent landowner permission, you could likely go forward. But for us, that's not, we're enforcing land use.
Okay, so that's out of our wheelhouse. They can do what
That's
they.
right.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Anything else? So what would we like to do with this item? We're stumped. Reeve Woodstock.
So your suggestion is that we wait until the new year to determine what we're doing here, but we'll give you administrative, whatever that word was. Administratively, you just want some sort of direction?
Correct. So if you're happy with what we've proposed, we will make those changes and bring it back in the new year so you can see what that would look like. If you want to do something different, that's totally fine. That's your ability to do that. And then if you're looking at a broader view of land use in the new year, then at least we'll know, and we will take it all as one and not just keep opening it just to do minor things, if that makes sense. So.
Well, I mean, if we can get rid of that spread between 5 and 8, which is what you're suggesting here, I would go ahead with what you've got here and just clarify it and bring it back, and we'll deal with it there. And I guess I could make that a motion to continue down this path and bring it back in the new year.
Thank you. Does
But
our,
what else? Whoever wants to.
any discussion on the motion? Councillor Penner.
With the way with affordable housing and that kind of stuff, I think we're heading in the right direction to get rid of that gap. So I think by removing the 800 square feet minimum, we're heading that way, so.
Councillor Christie.
I guess my question on small housing, does that require like a cement foundation or a permanent foundation of some sort?
All housing requires a permanent foundation.
I'm just thinking of mobile home on blocks. That's
Yeah.
considered a sound foundation if it's supported enough.
Yes, correct.
So we'll just wait a minute for the motion come up unless anyone else has any questions or comments. How do you like it, Reeve Woodstock?
Well, probably should have a space between discuss and act, but I mean, you can leave it discuss it. No, looks good to me.
Very good. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried unanimous.
Perfect. We will.
Great. Thanks for your work on that. Okay. We need a motion to return to our tabled topic.
Make a motion to bring back from the tabling motion earlier, our scholarship applicants.
All those in favor? Carried. Carolyn, we'd love to hear what you come up with.
Okay, well, first of all, sorry that my calculations didn't work. We had more applicants this year than we did last time, so my excuse is my formulas didn't go down, passed down to the new ones. So, anyways, the results were that applicant number 6, who is attending Olds College for Agriculture Management, her score was the highest at 54.66. And the second place person is the applicant who's attending Red Deer College for a Bachelor of Education. And if you're happy with those results, I can tell you who the students are.
I'd like to first note that they were very, very close and excellent
Yes.
submissions, and so, yes, that's great to see. It does, doesn't it? I agree. So are we good with that, and we'd like to hear the names? Carolyn?
So the applicant with the highest score was Jenna Cullum from Three Hills School. Well, she's now attending Olds College. And applicant number 1, Graham Fretz, and I believe he's from Trochu.
Great. So now we need that in a motion, do we not?
Yes, that would be super.
Who'd be willing to make that motion?
Sure.
Councillor Penner?
I'd just like to thank all of the applicants for putting it in. It was a very tough decision, great essays. The results were so close, so good luck to all of you in your studies. And I'd like to make the motion that the 2 we just discussed, Jenna Cullum and Graham Fretz, are awarded the 2 scholarships.
Great. So the motion will read, move that the Committee of Whole recommend to Council that Jenna Cullum and Graham Fretz be awarded the 2021 Kneehill County Scholarships. Any discussion? Further comments? All those in favor? Unanimous. Any additions? Last minute? Okay, wow. Very good morning, and I call the meeting adjourned at 9:03.
Oh, that was a quick one.
I'm just going to